In this video, we'll be scraping the results from a Google search for a keyword. We'll only be using Google Sheets and an add-on called Import from Web. You can create a Sheets account at google.com/sheets/about, and you can install the add-on Import from Web via Sheets. I'll show you how soon. For convenience, I've timestamped the video in the description. And so you're aware of the web scraping legalities, I've linked a helpful article there too. Before continuing, we must install the Import from Web Google Sheet add-on. Add-ons extend the functionality of your Google Sheet. They make it powerful. In Google Sheets, go to Add-ons, then click Get Add-ons. You'll want to search for Import from Web. And the add-on you'll want to install is from the provider No Data, No Business. Install the add-on. Once the add-on has installed, you'll want to go back and click on Add-ons. Import from Web should now appear. You'll want to hover over it so the menu opens, then click Activate. With the add-on successfully installed, you'll want to format your sheet. You'll have noticed that I've already created my Google Sheet. That saves me from wasting your time watching me make my Google Sheet. You can copy what you see here. Search, that will house the query we want to search for in Google. Title, that'll house the formula to scrape for the titles. Link, that'll house the formula to scrape for the links. Description, that'll house the formula to scrape for the descriptions. Underneath each of the headings, I've placed a hashtag. We're going to replace each of the hashtags with a formula as we build the scraper. We're going to be querying the term buy Bitcoin and scraping the results. In Google, often when you enter your query, the address returns a long link. For example, when you enter buy Bitcoin, you'll see what I mean. We needn't copy the entire link for our search query. That's not the correct format. The correct format for our search query is as follows. So we want to copy the URL up to the point where it ends in Bitcoin. So you'll see that it says google.com/search, then we have a question mark, then a Q, then equals buy plus Bitcoin. That's the entirety of the link that we want to copy. That's it. And to confirm that it's correct, let's delete the address in the URL bar and enter the address that we just copied. And it should return correctly. Now, with that link, let's go back to Google Sheets and paste it under Search. Let's build out the formula to scrape the titles from our search query. We're going to be using the Inspect Elements view in the Google Chrome developer tools for this. If you're unfamiliar with it, don't worry. You'll see why we're going to use it as we work through this tutorial. Back in the search results page, right-click and click Inspect. That will open up the code on the front end. If I scroll up and down the code, you'll see that it highlights different page areas that the code represents. We need to use this to identify what class our data sits within. Only then can our formula in Google Sheets extract it for us with our add-ons help. If we scroll down the code, step by step, expanding code blocks that go deeper towards the search result, we eventually come to div class equals G. As you can see, when we hover over it, it represents a search result. Keep the div class of G in mind. We're going to be using it in a moment. Let's continue expanding. You can now see we have all the data we want to extract. We have the title, which has a class of h3. Keep this in mind. We're going to be using that in a moment too. We have the link, which is an ahref, and we have the description, which is also in a div class. Let's work on the titles. Let's go back to Google Sheets and create the formula. Under title, you'll want to enter the following: 2 forward slashes, then we'll want to enter div, and we'll want to open up a pair of square brackets. And in between those square brackets, we'll want to enter the @ symbol and write class because we want to target a class. Then we'll want to enter equals and enter the class name. Now, if you remember, the class name was G, so we simply enter G. And outside of the square brackets, do 2 more forward slashes, and then we enter h3 as the title was a class of h3. Our formula is targeting the div class of G, which, if you remember, houses the information we want from each search result. And within that, we want to target the class of h3. And if you remember, h3 was the title for each result. Now, if we click enter and then go into cell B3, let's use the add-on we created. So we'll want to enter equals import from web, then A2, and then a comma, and B2, and close the brackets. Then press enter. The formula is calling the add-on. It's taking our inputs from cell A2, the search query, and cell B2, the title's location. Then it's returning our results. Perfect. Let's now do it for the links too. Let's go back to search results with the developer console open. We've already located where all the data is in our page. We don't need to search for it as we did. Of course, now we want to extract the link for each search result. We can see here that a link is an ahref. All links are ahrefs. Let's work on this. Let's go back to Google Sheets and create the formula. Under link, you'll want to enter the following: 2 forward slashes, div, then we'll want to open up a pair of square brackets, and within those, we'll want to write @class, and again, we want to target the class of G. And again, outside with square brackets, we want 2 forward slashes, then h3. But now we want to extend this. So now we need to enter another forward slash, 2 dots, another forward slash, and then @href. Our formula is targeting the div class of G, which, if you remember, houses the information we want from each search result. And within that, we want to target the class of h3, and within that, we want to target the ahref link. Now, if we go into cell C3, let's use the add-on we created. Equals import from web, and we want to enter A2, a comma, then C2, and close the brackets, then press enter. The formula is calling the add-on. It's taking our inputs from cell A2, the search query, and cell C2, the link's location. Then it's returning our result. Let's expand this column, and now let's do it for the descriptions too. Let's go back to the search results with the developer console open. Again, we've already located where all of the data is on our page, so we don't need to search for it as we did. Of course, this time, we want to extract the description for each search result. We can see that a unique class represents the description. Let's work on the descriptions. Copy the name of the class Then go back to Google Sheets and we can begin creating the formula. Under descriptions, you'll want to enter the following: 2/, div, and we'll open up a pair of square brackets. And as before, we want to target the class of div. So we write @class equals G. And outside of the square brackets, we want to target another div class. So again, we need 2/, we need to write div, and we need to open up a pair of square brackets again. And within those square brackets, we need to write @class equals. This time, what we want to do is paste in the class name that I copied from the Chrome Developer Console. Our formula is targeting the div class of G, which, if you remember, houses the information we want from each search result. Within that, we want to target another div class, the div class that houses the description. It's best to copy and paste the div class name because it must be the same to work. Now, if we go into cell D3, let's use the add-on we created. Equals import from web, and within the brackets, we'll want to enter A2, D2, and close the brackets and press enter. The formula is calling the add-on. It's taken our inputs from cell C2, the query, and cell D2, the description's location. Then it's returning our result. Perfect. Now we can see the results of our scraping the search engine results page on Google. You'd repeat the process if you wanted to scrape another query. This project is now complete. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this no-code project, please give this video a like. If you want to be notified of the latest projects that I publish every week, please subscribe. I'll see you in another no-code project.